This is a message to all of you to say congratulations for continuing to use your creativity to tackle issues for the SDGs.
Congratulations on participating in the Future Bee Challenge. And thank you for all the creative energy and the spirit that you've brought to your projects. It was really exciting for me to read them and to learn how you're using design and technology to address the Sustainable Development Goals, which are really, really big world problems. So kudos to you, or congratulations.
Thank you for inviting me to comment on a few of the playful projects that you all created for the Future Bee Challenge. I had a chance to learn more about some of the projects that were focused on the climate action theme. Joe, I really enjoyed looking at your project, Unnecessary Electricity Out. It's so important to consider energy conservation in our day-to-day lives. I loved how you connected a stepper motor to the microbit in order to push the wall switch and turn the light off. The use of the proximity sensor looked like it took some trial and error in order to get the program just the way you wanted it to work. That kind of trial and error is so important to these projects.
필요없는 전기 아웃에 대해 설명해 드리겠습니다. 지금 현재 제가 들고 있는 마이크로비트의 위치와 방 안에 있는 마이크로비트의 위치가 가깝기 때문에, 그리고 제 움직임이 감지되고 있기 때문에 서브모터는 아직 꺼진 버튼을 누르고 있지 않습니다. 그러나 제가 방 밖으로 멀리 나가고 움직임이 장시간 감지되지 않으면 서브모터가 꺼짐 스위치를 눌러 불을 끕니다.
I really like how this project prevents wasteful energy practices and promotes electricity conservation through the design of a smart switch. The smart switch only turns on the lights when a person is in the room. It's great how the designer created this prototype in this project for their own room, which is a real use case, right? It's a real way to actually test the project to see if it could work for someone who wants to save energy. It was really well laid out in the demo video. I loved how this young designer showed exactly how it worked. I could imagine having that in the room that I'm in right now, where I really need to learn how to conserve energy. It was also really terrific how this designer adapted and pivoted to using a proximity sensor and a motion detection sensor when a light sensor wasn't working, and found that this ended up being a better design choice. I think that's really funny when that happens, when things maybe go wrong and you end up having to lean into something else that might not be ideal, but then it ends up being a much better design decision. I love when that happens.
Park, your Solving Pollution with Coding project was inspiring. Air pollution is so important to pay attention to since it can change day to day and sometimes isn't even noticeable. So I was curious about your use of the odor sensor. It inspired me to start exploring and learning more about that type of sensor, and now I'm really engaged in that. I also appreciated that you said you became curious about your surroundings and the environment while engaging in this project. These types of projects can often do that and build a new curiosity about something you weren't aware of before.
I particularly liked how you had been able to design something that was very easy and comprehensive to understand by showcasing when the air pollution qualities are healthy or hazardous. I think it can have a real impact on raising people's awareness of the air quality around them. One thing I'd love to see on how you could take this further is maybe implicating it or replicating it in a real world setting, maybe outside a school, for example, so that school children can understand and know when the air quality outside their school is healthy or not and what they can do to take action for that. But it was a really, really impressive example of innovation and creativity. So well done.
Yoon, your eco-friendly factory project was one that I liked because it was a surprising challenge that you encountered when you tried to store the electricity from the solar panels. Storing electricity like that is a big problem for all kinds of solar systems and could use some future thinking in future with these types of innovation. Your use of the LEDs, though, to indicate when the solar panels were generating electricity was a nice way to keep exploring despite your challenges. And although coding is often challenging, these are just the types of projects that help us learn a little bit more about how to code each time we start a new project.
Here, I really want to applaud the student for incredible holistic thinking. You started mapping out and identifying all of the interrelated issues that can happen from that can cause climate change through the process of creating products through a factory. I really want to applaud you here for some creative problem solving and iteration, because that is what being a designer is, and that is what we are going to need, the mindsets of as we continue to move forwards. So congratulations on using your creativity and your resilience to come up and designing different types of prototypes to use for the factory.
Finally, Lee, your eco-friendly trash bin was a wonderful and playful way to think about this important problem. I love thinking about the little rewards that the trash can might offer me when I go to recycle something.
And I just thought it was a really creative way to help people shift their behavior by giving them a fun and joyful incentive or motivation. And at the same time, it helps keep the environment clean and prevents people from littering. It was also really wonderful to see the sketches for this project and how this might actually happen. So just seeing sort of the concept in action. And then from the sketches to see another iteration of this project in Octo Studio as a prototype. I loved seeing that. That progression just really communicated the project concept in a way that was very clear and in a fun and interactive way. I'd love to see the next iteration of that project. Some of the things that I noticed across all the projects was they all really made me reflect around a couple things. So just embodying ideas by creating with your own hands, the enjoyment of learning despite some hardships and failures, and also just to what I said earlier, how fruitful and even more interesting design choices can emerge from failure. And just how happy accidents can be fun and how we can learn from that. I found, honestly, a lot of these reflections from you all to be some of the most wonderful elements of going through your projects. So again, congratulations, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this journey with you. I can't wait to see what the next iteration of these projects end up being.